Welcome back, Officer of the Public. It's, of course, on Police Chief APGAINS. Today we're talking about when to farm gas as part of our when to farm playlist for new players and players who are getting back into the game to figure out when the best time for them to farm these characters and teams are. Go watch the rest of the playlist if you're interested in when to farm other teams, obviously. But today we're talking about General Anakin Skywalker, a.k.a. Gas. I still have new people to this day ask me why we call him Gas. Everything needs to be a stupid acronym in this game. GS sounds kind of weird, and so at some point someone said Gas, and it just stuck. General Anakin Skywalker, General Skywalker, or Gas 501st. I'm just going to call it Gas. Now, Gas is one of those teams where he will always be good. He is a stat machine. Yes, there's mechanics as well. Him going down and then coming back up and preventing damage to other clones. Yes, it's a mechanical team, and he can still be beaten by mechanical teams like JMK Cat, which is just like, oh, Gas, you're so cool, and now you're gone. Still easily countered by a lot of things, still countered by CLS even. But he has a unique ability to harvest and absolutely slurp up stats from Datacrons like crit damage, like offense, like defense, and becomes really, really annoying. Now, is he unstoppable with these stats? No, obviously not, but when coupled with another couple strong defensive teams, he makes for a very hard puzzle for your opponents to crack, even if they are higher GP than you, which they almost always will be. Now, the correct answer to when to farm Gas has always been the final member of the Core 8 as you're starting out your account. If you want to know what the Core 8 are, I have videos on it. There will probably be a video on it maybe I'll put it in this playlist so that you can just go into the playlist and look and find it. I'll probably have some other niche like terminology videos in there for people who are newer to the game to figure out what to do. But essentially, after you finished up all of the Core 8, finalizing with, ironing out Padme into GG Separatists, into Gas, GG General Grievous if you're a new player, GG Separatists is just what I call them. That's what most people call them. Once those are all ironed out, you finish the requirements for Gas, you finish your Core 8, and you can go on to do big and beautiful things. Now, sometimes, depending on how you play your account, because there's let's be honest, there's ultra giga mega efficiency where you kind of just care about winning and everything else falls to the wayside. Yes, you can do that, but let's be realistic. You probably already have a couple of teams. You probably already have a developed roster. You're probably already past the point, if you're watching this video, when you should farm Gas. Usually it falls in line around 1.75 to 2 million GP for most players. If you already have a Galactic Legend or a Galactic Legend ship, Gas should be on the docket. But realistically speaking, if you're sub 1.75 million GP, maybe figure out how to prepare the rest of your Core 8 teams to be GAC viable. Maybe consider doing a little bit of work into ships. If you rush something like the Executor, you probably want to load up on defensive teams, which means maybe you had the Executor at 1 million GP because you went for a rush. You probably want to overinvest in the defensive Core 8 teams, like the Gas, like the Padme, like the Grievous, which means that you might want to accelerate the point at which you farm Gas. It's all kind of this weird dance, and it's the reason that I'm making this playlist is because everyone does something differently, and farming guides don't really mean anything anymore, obviously, because that era is kind of dead years ago. It's more about understanding how the game works, what your roster looks like. You can use something like the Cube. If you join the Patreon, we have the Cube, which allows you to get basically an itemized list of what teams you should farm next, but also what your account looks like, what your GAC weaknesses and strengths are, and some other guild features as well if you're a guild leader in a guild that wants to use it. But since we live in this era of cubedness where it's more about understanding how your roster works, if you are lacking defensive teams and you're outside of this traditional farm Core 8, 1.75, 2 million GP, if you're lacking defensive teams, meaning the Cube tells you that you're too offensive, probably a good time to farm General Anakin Skywalker. All right, I've wasted too much of your time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Watch the rest of the playlist if you want to know when to farm other things. As always, I love you, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.